The World Health Organization, PEPFAR, USAID, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, so many organizations have been pumping hundreds of millions of dollars into the region to set up brand spanking new clinics and hire doctors and stack warehouses with antiretroviral drugs, but nobody's accessing them. And the reason why is stigma. Nobody bothered, just like they did with the Bring New Orleans Back Commission in New Orleans after Katrina, nobody bothered to ask the locals what they thought about the disease and what they thought the best solution to fighting the epidemic would be. Nobody wanted to be seen walking into a clinic. I mean, the typical international development model is very unfortunately putting up a big neon sign saying HIV testing here. And nobody wants to be seen walking in there because of the cultural stigma attached to the disease. So we needed to find another way. And I start thinking back in my head to what was going on under the Claiborne overpass in the aftermath of Katrina, and we started asking the questions. Okay, high HIV prevalence, economically distressed area, and a high musical interest. There are a lot of places in the world I would not recommend doing what we did. Afghanistan, for example, Saudi Arabia. It's not culturally appropriate to have a large co-ed concert where you talk about sex in any capacity. So we did a GoFundMe. And me and 8 guys got together, and 4 Ugandan nurses on the ground, and we said, all right, our goal is to throw a fair-sized free concert in Kampala, Uganda in October 2014. And we're going to have testing tents on site. So everybody comes. The target group is youth, ages 16 through 30. They're going to show up because they want to get their wonderful free music. And then while they're there, they're hip-hop icons and they're rap heroes and they're everybody else in the musical world will tell them, go get tested. I got tested. I know my status. You should too. And it's not about being positive or negative. It's about knowing your status so that you can take action to protect yourself and others. So where did our goals come from? We thought, we knew that the World Health Organization's record of an outreach program of doing HIV testing outside of a clinic was 184 people in one go. And that was a 12-hour day. So we thought, if we can beat their record the first time out of the gate, then we have something on our hands, the model is working, and we can possibly even expand it. So the GoFundMe brought in about $33,000. We brought over the Flowbots from Colorado. We brought over a whole slew of artists from Kampala and some local stars from Kabale as well. And so the results, 4,000 people showed up and 826 people got tested for HIV. As long as I live, I will never forget that number. We ran out of tests. That's how many we had. We never thought in a million years 826 people would come to a concert to get tested. Back then it was just a quick mouth swab and it would take 90 seconds and you'd get your results and instantly get connected to care if you tested positive. And we had 35 artists total performing that first year. Knowing that we had a hit, we came back the next year and made it even bigger, almost doubling the number of people in the crowd, bringing up to over 1,200 people the number of tests. And what you're looking at right there is not during the concert, that's sound check. That's how many people were now completely on board with what we were doing. And it was at this time that we said, okay, we have a hit here, but we really need to delve into some targeted populations more. We need sex workers, truck drivers, taxi cab drivers, day laborers, etc. And we, as outsiders, will never have access. We need to do everything we can to bring the youth into the fold for planning, organization, and implementation. So, one of the greater days of my life was bringing all the local equivalent of high school seniors and college freshmen and nursing students and showing them New Orleans second line videos on YouTube. And they all like, oh yeah, you stole the idea from us. We have second lines. Let's show you how it's done. And so they like to come around with their stilt walkers and their rollerbladers, and they're throwing out beads made from plastic bags melted and put around shoestrings and thrown to everybody with copious amounts of condoms. You know, laminate the world, my boy, go for it. And so they're throwing these things out. They printed their own t-shirts, and AIDS-free generation starts with me. I'm not waiting for any neo-colonialist to come and help me. I'm not waiting for any outsider, nobody from Kampala. It's gonna be me, I'm going to do it. And then, of course, you know, I couldn't believe this, and this young lady printed all these signs. 3 years before, nobody would have even said HIV in public. But now that it's cool, now that it's hip, and now that everybody's seeing their favorite musicians up on stage, then they all wanted to do this too. I know my HIV status. And so we expanded to 2 cities that year. And of course, that's my poor, long-suffering buddy Ryan, who had to discuss working with the faith-based community in Kabale, and that rolling TV screen, of course, called it the sex gospel, which might be my next tattoo. I love it. Okay, so our third year, we're in 2 cities, Lira in the north and Kabale in the south. 200 artists performed. It cost us $67,000 to do, and all of the local youth that are involved come up with these brilliant ideas. They're like, we have people from the faith-based community and from the government who really want to participate. They want to get tested, but they can't be seen going into the testing tents. What if we said blood donations? And we'll have all these stops set up where people can go in there and smile, the press will be there and take pictures of them giving blood. Of course, every drop of that is being tested for HIV and Hep C and a whole host of other diseases as well. Then they said, you need more women at these concerts. The first year, you only had 20% of the population female. Second year, 30%. We need to bring a lot more women, and the way we do that is by offering services specifically for women. And I said, okay, what do you think we should do? And they said, cervical cancer screenings in a tent on site at the festival. And why stop there when you can also do vasectomies and tubal ligations also in that tent at the festival? Can you imagine going to Jazz Fest, having a beer, listening to your favorite band, and being like, you know what it's time for? Well, that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. All in tents on site. And so the next year, we come back. Let that sink in for a while. Now we're doing IUD insertions. We're doing circumcisions because through... it just keeps getting better, right? You're like, what? This is the weirdest forum I've ever been to. I just want to go home. By being circumcised, you reduce the transmission of HIV by about 60%, the contraction of it. So we were doing a lot of those, again, at the concert. And we broke the Guinness Book of World Records for a single day of HIV tests, 8,098. 44,000 people came to all these shows. We did cervical cancer screenings again, and all kinds of other services as well. It was truly epic. And, oh yes, how subtle.